So a little update on my bike. Last weekend I installed the shorty shocks, which lowered it about an inch, but still a little tall. I took it out for a ride twice now, and I think I'll be okay. I might still lower the seat, but probably not. Really depends. It is super comfortable. Huge step up from what I was riding, which I'll show you in a minute. The only thing is, we found that the brake lights don't work with the handbrake. They do with the foot brake, but not the handbrake. And going in there and investigating a little bit, the brake wire was pinched, which easily could have been just from manufacturing. Not a big deal. And so I called Mark up from Mark's Motorsports in Enfield, Connecticut. And let me just tell you, they are an excellent dealer. The people there, all the employees, great, super helpful. Pleasure to do business with them. And of course, this was probably Devin's easiest sale because he didn't have to do much selling. I just called and said, I want that bike, here's my deposit, let's make it happen. And they did. Anyways, so I called Mark up and yesterday and told him that I needed the handbrake switch for the brake lights, and he looked it up and said of course he doesn't have any in stock, but they come from Texas. So with all this COVID pandemic craziness, Texas is totally shut down, including the factories and warehouses and whatnot. So that means the switch for the brakes is going to take longer to get here. It is what it is. I can still ride it because I can just use the foot brake along with the handbrake and the light will come on. So I can still ride it, although probably not going to ride it this weekend. It's pretty chilly out. So anyways, Mark got that ordered, and as soon as Texas opens up and gets it shipped here, Mark will then ship it here to the house and we'll get that switched out. So there'll be a video on that as well. But let me bring you to, well, here first, that's Eric's bike. That's a it's a split year 7980 Kawasaki a KZ 650. Super fun for him to ride. We got him in this tight little shed, and I'm telling you, this shed is little. Yeah, we got it squeezed in there. Keep it out of the weather for now before we have any other space opening up. But I'll show you what I was riding. This my son, it's actually his bike, but he had this bobber which he wanted to trade. Oops, yeah, he had this bobber and found a guy that had a Honda Twinstar that wanted to trade for a bobber. So he made that happen. This Twinstar was sitting in a barn for a lot of years. This is a storage shed we have. Anyways, it was sitting in a barn for a lot of years. Great little bike, fired right up amazingly after sitting for so long. He learned to ride and get his license on this bike. I learned to ride on this bike. Used to being able to touch flat-footed, so going from this little 185cc bike to my Royal Enfield, which is 500cc, it was a huge step up. Height-wise, power-wise, I can't tell you, when I took that out for my first ride, I was able to keep up with Eric so easily with this Twinstar. It would be floored and I'd be struggling to get to 55. So it was huge, but I don't know, it's gonna be a little dark in here. Sitting right now in the back of my husband's 57 Dodge. Yeah, this is what we gotta do sometimes to make storage work. That's my son's Kawasaki. So here's the Twinstar. Yeah, let me try and climb over some tires here. Yeah. Has the ape hangers and everything. So, it's hard to see here. I can't turn my camera. Anyways, I was used to riding on that, being able to sit on it and my feet being flat. It's so much lighter too than the Royal Enfield, so it was just a lot easier to handle. At least that's what I thought. When I rode this bike, this little gem here, if the wind hit you the right way, you felt like you were going over. If you got up to 50 miles an hour, it felt like just the wind was gonna take you over. It's just because it's so light, it's just extremely light, not very powerful, but it's a great bike to tool around in cities and towns with. Long rides, not so much, although we did do some long rides with it when I got my license. When I got my license, it was, what is it? This will be it'll be 3 years in October. Anyways, so when I learned to ride on this, my husband took me out like every night. We went out and rode. I went and did before that I went and did my written test to get my permit. And the woman's like, do you want to take your driving test now? I said, no. I said, I want to go and ride first and get comfortable on the bike. So we did. Every night we went out and re-rode the bike. I practiced down in the parking lot of one of the companies I work for. Anyways, when it was time to go and take my riding test, I got it scheduled, and it was a rainy fall. Rainy fall. So, of course, the day I had to take my test was a hurricane, and it was warmer than it had been, but it was pouring. I put my rain gear on. My dad called me in that morning and said, are you sure you want to go and take your test and not reschedule it? I said, nope. They do it rain or shine, I'm gonna go. He's like, you want me to follow you up there? Nope, I gotta do it. I gotta do it on my own. And so I got myself ready. Yes, nervous as heck. Got myself ready. And hi Stella. And I put my rain gear on and I set out. I took my time. I left super early. I took my time and that rain was pouring hard. I got up there, took my stuff off inside so I could, do everything that I needed to do at the counter. And I was the only biker that showed up that day for my license. And went out there with the instructor and he said, for you to have driven a half hour, which I'm a half hour away, but it took longer just because of the weather, all the way up here to take your test, you deserve your license. But he still put me through all the paces and this and that, and so anyways, I got my license on this gem. So this bike, I'll never forget this bike ever. I probably will still ride it here and there, would take it out for a little fun. Gabrielle would like to learn how to ride, so she's probably gonna learn on this. I tried to teach her a little bit last year and she wasn't ready. I think she should honestly take one of those motorcycle classes. I didn't do that, but she should do that. So anyways, that's the Honda Twinstar. That's where I went. And so for me to go to the Royal Enfield, bigger bike, heavier bike, more power, it was a huge change for me. Huge change. But yeah, so that's that. So I can't wait until my brake switch comes in. And again, Mark's Motorsports in Enfield, Connecticut. Awesome dealers. Really are. The employees there are super helpful. I can't say enough good stuff about them. And like being able to call Mark and say, hey, the handbrake switch isn't working. Can you get me one? And sure enough, I just have to wait now for Texas to open up. But yeah, so that's a little update on the Royal Enfield. So hopefully when the Texas opens up and I get that switch, I'll have a video of us installing it so you can see. Hoping to get out soon and do some more riding. Just kind of waiting on the weather. We had some beautiful weather last week. This week's been a little more chilly and rainy, so I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. But that's that. Hope you guys have a great day.